Reality is the state of things as they actually exist, rather than as they may appear or might be imagined. In a wider definition, reality includes everything that is and has been, whether or not it is observable or comprehensible. A still broader definition includes everything that has existed, exists, or will exist. Philosophers, mathematicians, and other ancient and modern thinkers, such as Aristotle, Plato, Frege, Wittgenstein, and Russell, have made a distinction between thought corresponding to reality, coherent abstractions, and that which cannot even be rationally thought. By contrast, existence is often restricted solely to that which has physical existence or has a direct basis in it in the way that thoughts do in the brain. Reality is often contrasted with what is imaginary, delusional, in the mind, dreams, what is false, what is fictional, or what is abstract. At the same time, what is abstract plays a role both in everyday life and in academic research. For instance, causality, virtue, life and distributive justice are abstract concepts that can be difficult to define, but they are only rarely equated with pure delusions. Both the existence and reality of abstractions are in dispute. One extreme position regards them as mere words, another position regards them as higher truths than less abstract concepts. This disagreement is the basis of the philosophical problem of universals. The truth refers to what is real, while falsity refers to what is not. Fictions are considered not real. Related concepts: reality, worldviews, and theories of reality. A common colloquial usage would have reality mean perceptions, beliefs, and attitudes toward reality, as in, my reality is not your reality. This is often used just as a colloquialism indicating that the parties to a conversation agree, or should agree, not to quibble over deeply different conceptions of what is real. For example, in a religious discussion between friends, one might say, you might disagree, but in my reality, everyone goes to heaven. Reality can be defined in a way that links it to worldviews or parts of them. Reality is the totality of all things, structures, events and phenomena, whether observable or not. It is what a worldview ultimately attempts to describe or map. Certain ideas from physics, philosophy, sociology, literary criticism, and other fields shape various theories of reality. One such belief is that there simply and literally is no reality beyond the perceptions or beliefs we each have about reality. Such attitudes are summarized in the popular statement, perception is reality, or life is how you perceive reality, or reality is what you can get away with, and they indicate anti-realism, that is, the view that there is no objective reality, whether acknowledged explicitly or not. Many of the concepts of science and philosophy are often defined culturally and socially. The idea was elaborated by Thomas Kuhn in his book The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, The Social Construction of Reality, a book about the sociology of knowledge written by Peter L. Berger and Thomas Luckman, was published in 1966. Western philosophy. Philosophy addresses two different aspects of the topic of reality: the nature of reality itself, and the relationship between the mind and reality. On the one hand, ontology is the study of being, and the central topic of the field is couched, variously, in terms of being, existence, what is, and reality. The task in ontology is to describe the most general categories of reality and how they are interrelated. If a philosopher wanted to proffer a positive definition of the concept, reality, it would be done under this heading. As explained above, some philosophers draw a distinction between reality and existence. In fact, many analytic philosophers today tend to avoid the term real and reality in discussing ontological issues. But for those who would treat is real the same way they treat exists, one of the leading questions of analytic philosophy has been whether existence is a property of objects. It has been widely held by analytic philosophers that it is not a property at all, though this view has lost some ground in recent decades. On the other hand, particularly in discussions of objectivity that have feet in both metaphysics and epistemology, philosophical discussions of reality often concern the ways in which reality is, or is not, in some way dependent upon mental and cultural factors such as perceptions, beliefs, and other mental states, as well as cultural artifacts, such as religions and political movements, on up to the vague notion of a common cultural worldview, or Weltanschauung. The view that there is a reality independent of any beliefs, perceptions, etc., is called realism. More specifically, philosophers are given to speaking about realism about this and that, such as realism about universals or realism about the external world. Generally, where one can identify any class of object, the existence or essential characteristics of which is said not to depend on perceptions, beliefs, language, or any other human artifact, one can speak of realism about that object. One can also speak of anti-realism about the same objects. Anti-realism is the latest in a long series of terms for views opposed to realism. Perhaps the first was idealism, so called because reality was said to be in the mind, or a product of our ideas. Berkeleyan idealism is the view, propounded by the Irish empiricist George Berkeley, that the objects of perception are actually ideas in the mind. In this view, one might be tempted to say that reality is a mental construct. This is not quite accurate, however, since in Berkeley's view perceptual ideas are created and coordinated by God. By the 20th century, views similar to Berkeley's were called phenomenalism. Phenomenalism differs from Berkeleyan idealism primarily in that Berkeley believed that minds, or souls, are not merely ideas nor made up of ideas, whereas varieties of phenomenalism, such as that advocated by Russell, tended to go farther to say that the mind itself is merely a collection of perceptions, memories, etc., and that there is no mind or soul over and above such mental events. Finally, anti-realism became a fashionable term for any view which held that the existence of some object depends upon the mind or cultural artifacts. The view that the so-called external world is really merely a social, or cultural, artifact, called social constructionism, is one variety of anti-realism. Cultural relativism is the view that social issues such as morality are not absolute, but at least partially cultural artifact. A correspondence theory of knowledge about what exists claims that, true knowledge of reality represents accurate correspondence of statements about, and images of reality with the actual reality that the statements or images are attempting to represent. For example, the scientific method can verify that a statement is true based on the observable evidence that a thing exists. Many humans can point to the Rocky Mountains and say that this mountain range exists, and continues to exist even if no one is observing it or making statements about it. Being, the nature of being, is a perennial topic in metaphysics. For instance, Parmenides taught that reality was a single unchanging being, whereas Heraclitus wrote that all things flow. The 20th century philosopher Heidegger thought previous philosophers have lost sight the question of being in favor of the questions of beings, so that a return to the Parmenidean approach was needed. An ontological catalogue is an attempt to list the fundamental constituents of reality. The question of whether or not existence is a predicate has been discussed since the early modern period, not least in relation to the ontological argument for the existence of God. Existence, that something is, has been contrasted with essence, the question of what something is. Since existence without essence seems blank, it associated with nothingness by philosophers such as Hegel. Nihilism represents an extremely negative view of being, the absolute a positive one. perception. The question of direct or naive realism, as opposed to indirect or a representational realism, arises in the philosophy of perception and of mind out of the debate over the nature of conscious experience, the epistemological question of whether the world we see around us is the real world itself or merely an internal perceptual copy of that world generated by neural processes in our brain. Naive realism is known as direct realism when developed to counter indirect or representative realism, also known as epistemological dualism. The philosophical position that our conscious experience is not of the real world itself but of an internal representation, a miniature virtual reality replica of the world. Timothy Leary coined the influential term reality tunnel, by which he means a kind of representative realism. The theory states that, with a subconscious set of mental filters formed from their beliefs and experiences, every individual interprets the same world differently, hence, truth is in the eye of the beholder. His ideas influence the work of his friend Robert Anton Wilson. Abstract objects and mathematics. The status of abstract entities, particularly numbers, is a topic of discussion in mathematics. Other forms of realism identify mathematics with the concrete physical universe. Anti-realist stances include formalism and fictionalism. Some approaches are selectively realistic about some mathematical objects but not others. Finitism rejects infinite quantities. Ultrafinitism accepts finite quantities, up to a certain amount. Constructivism and intuitionism are realistic about objects that can be explicitly constructed, but reject the use of the principle of the excluded middle to prove existence by reductio ad absurdum. The traditional debate has focused on whether an abstract realm of numbers has existed in addition to the physical world. A recent development is the mathematical universe hypothesis, the theory that only a mathematical world exists, with the finite, physical world being an illusion within it. An extreme form of realism about mathematics is the mathematical multiverse hypothesis advanced by Max Tegmark. Tegmark's sole postulate is, all structures that exist mathematically also exist physically. That is, in the sense that, in those worlds complex enough to contain self-aware substructures, they will subjectively perceive themselves as existing in a physically real world. The hypothesis suggests that worlds corresponding to different sets of initial conditions, physical constants, or altogether different equations should be considered real. The theory can be considered a form of Platonism in that it posits the existence of mathematical entities, but can also be considered a mathematical monism in that it denies that anything exists except mathematical objects. Properties. The problem of universals is an ancient problem in metaphysics about whether universals exist. Universals are general or abstract qualities, characteristics, properties, kinds or relations, such as being male, female, solid, liquid, gas or a certain color, that can be predicated of individuals or particulars, or that individuals or particulars can be regarded as sharing or participating in. For example, Scott, Pat, and Chris have in common the universal quality of being human or humanity. The realist school claims that universals are real, they exist and are distinct from the particulars that instantiate them. There are various forms of realism. Two major forms are Platonic realism and Aristotelian realism. Platonic realism is the view that universals are real entities and they exist independent of particulars. Aristotelian realism, on the other hand, is the view that universals are real entities, but their existence is dependent on the particulars that exemplify them. Nominalism and conceptualism are the main forms of anti-realism about universals. Time and space. A traditional realist position in ontology is that time and space have existence apart from the human mind. Idealists deny or doubt the existence of objects independent of the mind. Some anti-realists whose ontological position is that objects outside the mind do exist, nevertheless doubt the independent existence of time and space. Kant, in the Critique of Pure Reason, described time as an a priori notion that, together with other a priori notions such as space, allows us to comprehend sense experience. Kant denies that either space or time are substance, entities in themselves, or learned by experience. He holds rather that both are elements of a systematic framework we use to structure our experience. Spatial measurements are used to quantify how far apart objects are, and temporal measurements are used to quantitatively compare the interval between events. Although space and time are held to be transcendently ideal in this sense, they are also empirically real, i.e., not mere illusions. Idealist writers such as J.M.E. McTaggart in The Unreality of Time have argued that time is an illusion, as well as differing about the reality of time as a whole. Metaphysical theories of time can differ in their ascriptions of reality to the past, present and future separately. Presentism holds that the past and future are unreal, and only an ever-changing present is real. The block universe theory, also known as eternalism, holds that past, present and future are all real, but the passage of time is an illusion. It is often said to have a scientific basis in relativity. The growing block universe theory holds that past and present are real, but the future is not. Time, and the related concepts of process and evolution are central to the system-building metaphysics of A. N. Whitehead and Charles Hartshorne. Possible world. The term possible world goes back to Leibniz's theory of possible worlds, used to analyze necessity, possibility, and similar modal notions. Modal realism is the view, notably propounded by David Kellogg Lewis, that all possible worlds are as real as the actual world. In short, the actual world is regarded as merely one among an infinite set of logically possible worlds, some nearer to the actual world and some more remote. Other theorists may use the possible world framework to express and explore problems without committing to it ontologically. Possible world theory is related to alethic logic. A proposition is necessary if it is true in all possible worlds, and possible if it is true in at least one. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics is a similar idea in science. Theories of everything and philosophy. The philosophical implications of a physical toe are frequently debated. For example, if philosophical physicalism is true, a physical toe will coincide with a philosophical theory of everything. The system-building style of metaphysics attempts to answer all the important questions in a coherent way, providing a complete picture of the world. Plato and Aristotle could be said to be early examples of comprehensive systems. In the early modern period, the system-building scope of philosophy is often linked to the ratio analysis method of philosophy, that is, the technique of deducing the nature of the world by pure a priori reason. Examples from the early modern period include the Leibniz's monadology, Descartes' dualism, Spinoza's monism, Hegel's absolute idealism, and Whitehead's process philosophy were later systems. Other philosophers do not believe its techniques can aim so high. Some scientists think a more mathematical approach than philosophy is needed for a toe. For instance, Stephen Hawking wrote in A Brief History of Time that even if we had a toe, it would necessarily be a set of equations. He wrote, "What is it that breathes fire into the equations and makes a universe for them to describe? Phenomenological reality on a much broader and more subjective level, private experiences, curiosity, inquiry, and the selectivity involved in personal interpretation of events shapes reality as seen by one and only one individual, and hence is called phenomenological." While this form of reality might be common to others as well, it could at times also be so unique to oneself as to never be experienced or agreed upon by anyone else. Much of the kind of experience deemed spiritual occurs on this level of reality. Phenomenology is a philosophical method developed in the early years of the 20th century by Edmund Husserl and a circle of followers at the universities of Göttingen and Munich in Germany. Subsequently, phenomenological themes were taken up by philosophers in France, the United States, and elsewhere, often in contexts far removed from Husserl's work. The word phenomenology comes from the Greek phenomenon, meaning that which appears, and logos, meaning study. In Husserl's conception, phenomenology is primarily concerned with making the structures of consciousness and the phenomena which appear in acts of consciousness, objects of systematic reflection and analysis. Such reflection was to take place from a highly modified, first-person viewpoint, studying phenomena not as they appear to my consciousness, but to any consciousness whatsoever. Husserl believed that phenomenology could thus provide a firm basis for all human knowledge, including scientific knowledge, and could establish philosophy as a rigorous science. Husserl's conception of phenomenology has been criticized and developed not only by himself, but also by his student and assistant Martin Heidegger, by existentialists such as Maurice Merleau-Ponty, Jean-Paul Sartre, and by other philosophers such as Paul Ricoeur, Emmanuel Levinas, and Dietrich von Hildebrand. Skeptical hypotheses in philosophy suggest that reality is very different from what we think it is, or at least that we cannot prove it is not. Examples include the brain in a vat hypothesis is cast in scientific terms. It supposes that one might be a disembodied brain kept alive in a vat, and fed false sensory signals by a mad scientist. The dream argument of Descartes and Zhuangzi supposes reality to be indistinguishable from a dream. Descartes' evil demon is a being, as clever and deceitful as he is powerful, who has directed his entire effort to misleading me. The 5-minute hypothesis suggests that the world was created recently together with records and traces indicating a greater age. The matrix hypothesis or simulated reality hypothesis suggests that we might be inside a computer simulation or virtual reality. Jain philosophy postulates that 7 tattva constitute reality. These 7 tattva are jiva, the soul which is characterized by consciousness; ajiva, the non-soul; asrava, influx of karma; bandha, the bondage of karma; samvara, obstruction of the inflow of karmic matter into the soul; nirhara, shedding of karma; moksha, liberation or salvation, i.e., the complete annihilation of all karmic matter.